Alright everyone, so welcome back to another video, and tonight what I have for everyone is my full review of Fedora Silverblue 43. So I've been using this Linux distribution for a good amount of time, and I think I've gathered all my thoughts and opinions on it, and that's what I'm going to share with everyone tonight in tonight's video. So hopefully by the end of this video, you guys and gals know if this is potentially a Linux distribution that you guys and gals may want to switch to. And more importantly, is this a Linux distribution that I can make my main OS or my main distribution, and will it be my main distribution going forward? Hopefully everything I talk about in this video, and let you guys and gals know, helps y'all to figure that out, and I'm gonna let y'all know whether it's gonna be my main distro or main OS moving forward, or if I'm gonna go to something else. Also keep in mind, all the links to my extended OS coverage will be linked up down below, as well as all the links to everything that I use to put this entire video together, including my microphone, my software, the software to make bootable flash drives. All that good stuff will be linked up down below, as well as the affiliated buy links to my mini PC that I flashed all these OSs on. And as the name implies, if you use those affiliate links located down below in the video description to make any purchase, I do get a small percentage of commission that I do put back into the channel, and that's at no additional cost to you guys and gals. Alright, housekeeping done, let's get into tonight's video. So, first things first, when we talk about Fedora Silverblue 43, what is it exactly? Well, the Silverblue part means that this is an immutable OS. And what that means is it's a read-only OS, or when you're booting up the system always has a backup image in case of corruption or accident. So basically when you set the system up, it makes two images of the system on your hard drive, and there's always a rollback image if there's any issues, and you can always select that rollback image during system boot. Okay? And the same rule applies if there's an update. Okay? So when you install an update, the system does have to reboot, and the update gets installed to the image that you're not using, and then when it reboots into that updated image, and then the image that you were using last goes to the secondary slot, and when there's a new update, so on and so forth. So the update goes to the secondary slot image, the system reboots, it puts the secondary slot image in the first slot, and brings the first slot image to the second slot, and anytime there's an update, that's what happens. The same thing happens too if you use any terminal commands, alright? And when you use terminal commands, you use this right here, the rpm/os tree, alright? So if there's an application that you want to install, like you can see here, I installed the Blueman Bluetooth application. That's what Linux Mint Cinnamon uses, or something similar, to give you the battery life and the Bluetooth strength and connection status. So if you want to install an application that's not available in the software store, and they use the regular GNOME software store, which is something that I actually like, you have to use this command right here. Because essentially what you do is you install the image and it writes it, you install the application and it writes it to your default image. And then when you restart, because it does require a restart, it cycles in that application into your new default image. So again, it writes the application into the image on the second slot, then you do a restart and it puts the second slot in the default image and puts the first slot in the secondary image. And that's what happens when you install applications that are not available on the GNOME software store. Okay? And actually, I feel as though that's pretty cool. But the only issue that I have with this type of system is that it is slow. Okay? It is slow. So like when you do installations, they can take a little bit of noticeable time. When you do updates, it can take a little bit of noticeable time. And upon doing research, that's because it's a read-only OS. And read-only OSs are noticeably slower. So there is a downside to having this type of OS, but the upside to it is it does provide additional security, and there is always a failsafe with that fallback image. In case you break something, there's always a usable version of the system. So that is really, really nice. Other than that, I do really like the look and layout of the system. Now, they use GNOME as their desktop environment, and pretty much they don't really install anything aside from, you know, some contact stuff here, some weather stuff, some maps, and then you have a image writer here that makes it really easy to make bootable USBs. You got a camera application which you can fire up your webcam if you connect one with this. And then the rest of this is pretty much, I installed it. Now Firefox is a default, and this extension manager is a default as well because their stock extension manager doesn't give you too much control. Okay? But other than that, I would have to say this is a very clean image, and you can always uninstall whatever you don't want to use, which is really, really nice. So if we go into the App Store here, I can always uninstall whatever I don't want to use. See? So if I don't want maps, get them out of here. If I don't want camera, get them out of here. So you essentially have full control over your entire system. And you can basically clean it up exactly the way you want it to be. Okay? And that's actually really, really nice. Okay? And then this is the issue again. As you guys and gals can see, when you uninstall something or install something, it is a little slow to make those changes. And that again comes down to the fact that it's a read-only system. Okay? So having a read-only system does have its upsides, but it does have its downsides as well. But again, you still have basically full control over the system. And one thing that I have to say, the terminal commands, the RPM terminal commands are a lot more straightforward than the default Linux terminal commands, which is really, really nice, making installing things via the terminal super easy. And also, you handle all of your updates through the GNOME software store. So you can see I do have a system update right here. Now I turned off all the automatic updates. I did that after my first impressions video. So I actually have to go in here and click update. And then once it updates, it will prompt me to restart the system to apply that update. So that is that. But I really do like the fact that there is one place to control everything. Uninstalling, installing, and that has to do with system updates as well. And I really like the fact that there's one place to see when updates are available. So that's really, really nice. Okay? And then, like I said, I really do like the overall look of this. It's like a combination between an Android device and a desktop. Okay? So you got your app drawer, You got your notification shade and your connection shade here. It's really, really nice. And what's also really nice here is, like I said, you can install whatever you want. Okay? And the installation process was fairly straightforward. Now, there were one or two hiccups installing certain applications, primarily installing Google Chrome. Now, I did have to go in and install an additional application after I installed Google Chrome to give it permissions to run. So I installed Google Chrome via my flash drive, and then I had to go and get the Flat Sail application to grant Google Chrome permissions to run. And then after that, Google Chrome works normally. So that was a little hiccup there that I did experience, and I'm gonna have to grade that out because I don't want y'all to see my emails there. Y'all don't really need to see that. But that was a little hiccup that I experienced. But other than that, for the most part, it has been a fairly straightforward experience, and it has been overall a fairly enjoyable experience. And as you can see, I was able to get all of my default applications that I use on a daily basis up and running with basically no issues aside from that Google Chrome issue that I mentioned. Okay? And if you notice here, I did replace the default file manager with GNOME or Nemo, because the default file manager doesn't give you the storage location or the available storage for my SSD. And I replaced that with Nemo so I can get the storage location and the available space for my SSD. And if you look here, you see how much free space I have on my system after getting everything all set up and getting everything running and logged in. Look at that. That is beautiful. Okay? So if I did want to run this system as a daily driver, I could. And I'm pretty sure I would basically have little to no issues because this is basically set up and ready to go. So, is this a Linux distribution that I can recommend that you guys and gals go out there and check out and download and install on your system for yourself? I would have to say yes. Yes, indeed. And let me just give y'all some real quick verifications as to my system. Maybe this is somebody's first video and they haven't come across my other OS coverage. So let's go into settings, let's go into system, and let's go into about. So here you can see my system and you can see the software version that we're running. Okay? So you can see that is my system, the BOSGAME E2. And this is my hardware, my RAM, and my SSD. And then for you guys and gals that want even more information, we'll go into system details. And here you can see the desktop environment version that we're running and the Windows system version that we're running. So this is a Wayland system, and this is running off of GNOME's desktop environment version 49. Okay? And I gotta say, for the most part, I really, really like this. Now, I did have to go and install some additional applications to get the buttons the way I wanted it, to get certain things set up the way I wanted it, like my dock. And like I said earlier, I did have to go and install the additional extension manager, which was fairly easy to do. And then I can do the dash to dock. And then I could also set up my buttons and get everything just the way I want. Okay. You can also do the buttons with a terminal command. Okay. And you can also do the dash to dock with a terminal command as well. And that's honestly the easiest way to do it. Okay. But it was fairly straightforward to do this. And that being said, that pretty much brings a close to this video, guys and gals. Now, more importantly, am I going to be using this OS or distro as my main OS or distribution going forward? Well, sadly, I am not. I am going back to Linux Mint Cinnamon. Okay? I just like the straightforward nature and the full detailed nature of Linux Mint Cinnamon. And sure, the desktop environment is not as visually appealing as I would like, but in terms of functions and straightforward usability, I feel as though, in my experience testing out all these different distributions, you really can't beat it. And in terms of just being able to use it out of the box, I feel like Linux Mint Cinnamon is one of the best distros you can use. And that being said, that is why I'm going back to it. Sure, it's not as visually appealing as I would like, but me being a functionalist / utilitarian, it just works. And once I set it up, I can just sit down and do what I need to do. It doesn't have to look the best, it just has to do the job. Okay? But honestly, I had a really great experience with Fedora Silverblue 43. And again, I can recommend it, okay? Because it was fairly straightforward. But again, there were some downsides to it. So you guys and gals be prepared for that. And I hope everyone enjoyed this video. And I hope everyone found it helpful. Now, as I said in some of my other videos, I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to release this OS content. But I'll figure it out. But pretty much after this, we're going to get back into testing out earbuds, testing out headphones, testing out smartphones, testing out laptops, tablets, PCs, you know, the usual stuff. But it was, again, really nice and really enjoyable to go on this OS journey and this Linux distribution journey, and I do feel as though I learned a lot. I learned a real lot. But I pretty much am rehashing this from other videos, so I'm going to get up out of here. I hope everyone is having a great day. Hope you guys and gals are staying safe out there, and I will catch everyone in the next video. Have a good one, everybody. We are out of here. Peace.